So today we'll be working on this Kia 6-berth motorhome. The issue is the toilet flush is not working. I'll take you through and show you the issue. So before we go in the van, always make sure you have enough water in your flush tank for your toilet. So this one is filled here and is separate from your fresh water tank that's underneath the van. Some vans are connected directly to your fresh water tank, which is underneath the van. This is the level that shows you how much water is in the flush tank. So coming inside the van, you always want to make sure, like I said, you have enough water in your fresh water flushing system. And in some cases, the vans, you will have to check that your water tanks are full, because the water is drawn from your main fresh water tank underneath the van. So make sure your water pump is on and your toilet switch is on, and we'll take you to the toilet area now. So coming here to the toilet, the issue is when you press the flush, nothing happens and the lights go dim. So if I show you up here and I press the button now, the lights go dim. So this indicates that the pump is seized and is drawing excessive current when you push this button here. So don't keep pushing on it, because you will damage the fuse or you could damage the wiring. So to access the water pump motor, it's located here. So you will have to pull up on this. So gently pull up on this. That's your control board. And your pump is underneath here. Should be able to pull up on this with your hands. The seal is not too tight. And if you look at the bottom of the tank there, that blue thing that the wire is going to, that is your water pump motor. So you will have to stick your hand in there and pull that out. You can also, forgot to mention, you should be draining this tank out so your hands don't get wet, and also it will get rid of all this dirt you see in the tank, as we will also need to flush this tank out before. This tank isn't too bad, but there is some sediment there that we'll need to flush out before putting the new water pump in. So I'll take you to the outside of the van now. So to drain your toilet flush tank, you just pull down on this and you tilt it and just let the water drain out. So this is something you should be doing also if you're storing a van. It's best not to leave any water in there, and will prevent mold from building up if your van is going to be sitting for an extended period of time and not being used. So I'll stick my hand in here and pull this pump out. You can see there's a pipe connecting to the pump as well. It's not that easy to get that pump out of there. You need quite nimble hands. So someone's been here before and the pipe came out of the top of the motor, which it shouldn't have. So as you can see, someone has been here before and has changed this. I tried spinning the motor manually by putting a screwdriver in here and turning the bottom impeller, but it's completely seized. So we will replace this. There's no point being stuck somewhere out of town at a campsite and your toilet doesn't flush, so you need to put a new one in. This is why it's good when your van is sitting for a long period of time to drain that fresh water flush tank I showed you on the outside for the toilet. This will prevent corrosion from happening in here and will stop the pump from seizing up. So now, before cutting this wire here, you have to make sure you turn off the main power to this pump. So make sure you turn everything off. Even better, if you want, is to disconnect the 12-volt house battery or pull off your isolation switch that kills the power to the whole van, which I will do. So coming here, I'll turn off the main power. And also just take note of this wire. When you come to cut this wire and rejoin it to a new motor, I would suggest not having the connection like this, how someone's put it before. They've spliced it here and they've connected it, but this wire sits in the toilet flush tank and it's submerged in water. So ideally I wouldn't like this connection to be here. Rather, it should be up here, so it's not in the water and it's completely dry. So when we cut this, I'll be cutting it over here and rejoining the connections up here. So make sure your power is off, like I said, and then you can go ahead and cut this wire. So once you have stripped the wires here, put a multimeter on those, positive and negative, brown being positive in my case. So make sure your power is on and then push the flush button to make sure 12 volts is coming to this wire. As you can see, 12 volts is coming to that wire. So that tells me the fuse and the circuitry to this wire is good. If you don't have power here, you can refer to my other video which should be in the link below in the comment section, which goes in depth on how to troubleshoot the system, or the Thetford toilet, and where the fuse is located. But in this case, we just need a simple, straightforward cut and replace pump, and we just need to solder those two wires to the new pump. So the same pump, I actually managed to free it up. There was a piece of sand or like a small stone that was stuck in there, and I was really shaking it around and put the screwdriver in there and moved it around, and then I saw something dislodged from here. So that must have occurred when someone filled the tank up with non-clean water. So basically what you want to do now is spin it and put some lubricant a little bit in there just to free it up, and then you can turn it on. Make sure it spins nice and free. And just take note of this as well. So this pump is from 2018. So it's not that old. So I will be putting this one back in. So these are some of the other aftermarket brands that you can get if you are replacing your pump. I cut this one open so you can see what it looks like on the inside. And sometimes what happens is the water, if it's been sitting for a long time and it's a very old pump, the water seeps through past behind here and into the motor housing, and then it really jams up the motor. But in this case I physically saw something fall out of here, so, and I know that the pump was replaced in 2018, so this pump should be fine, and I'll fit it and monitor it. Like for example, this pump here is from 2008, and I tried spinning this one and it's completely seized. I've just set this up here so you can see how the pump works. So I'll place it in a small bucket of water. So once I place it in the water, you'll see water coming out here. So that's how your toilet flush pump works. It's submerged in water. So that's how this pump works. It's always sitting in the water like this, and that pipe that's connected here goes up to your toilet bowl and dispenses the water. Go down this route of what I showed you, spinning this and freeing it up and making sure there's nothing stuck here, and putting some WD-40 or some sort of oil in here, and then spinning it. Make sure it spins freely and it should not jerk or hesitate. If it does, then don't even bother, just replace the pump. But like I said, in my case, this pump isn't old, and I physically saw something come out of here, so I know that that was clogging up the pump. I couldn't see this in the van because I shook it outside and I happened to see something come out of here, so I physically know that there was something there that was clogging it. Like I said, usually the water sometimes seeps past that impeller and goes in here into the motor, and then that really clogs up the motor and it will never work properly. So when you connect your motor, it should run freely. And bear in mind, if you do go down this route and free up this, there is chances that this motor might seize up again in the future. If you just want peace of mind, it's best just to replace that. Refer down in the comments to see my other video where I show you how to fully troubleshoot and replace this sort of a pump in a motorhome. So before you fit your new pump, or in my case put the old one back, don't forget to flush out and clean the tank here, the holding tank. Just take a normal garden hose and flush out all the dirt in here. You might have to take a soft sponge or brush with your hand and go in there and clean around, because you don't want any of that dirt being sucked back into that pump. and make sure your drain is draining on the outside. And once you're happy after a few flushes that it's all clean and you can see it's nice and clean, you can go ahead and install the new pump. Go ahead and resolder this pump back on here. Don't forget to use heat shrink. So once the wires are soldered, don't forget to put your heat shrink on. And heat it up so it shrinks. Also, when you're soldering the wire back, don't forget to push your wire through this plastic housing here. So don't just solder it straight to this wire, pass it through here first. So now that it's wired in, I can test run it. As you can see, it's working. So it's working fine. I'll go ahead and connect the pipe back up and push it back down in there. So push this back in place. Make sure the wires are not tangled up anywhere here. And then go outside and fill up your tank. Sometimes if you see water still stuck in here with mold, you can turn this sideways and drain it. Like so. And connect this back up. Clip it in place. And then fill up your tank. So just keep filling it till you see the level come up. So now that the flush tank is full outside, you can go ahead and test out your pump. So I hope this video gave you some insight on how to fix your issue you might have with your motor and your water pump. Don't forget to check the channel out because we've got a lot of similar content on how to service your toilet, how to regularly maintain it, and other RV content. Don't forget to give the video a like. Bye for now.